What's up, crew? My name's Captain Dave, and welcome back to the Captain's Quarters, the video in which I go through and answer a selection of your questions and comments from last time's video. So, two things to kick this off. Number one, change the intro a little bit. I've been saying for years and years and years I need to give you guys a name. Some of you have been with me for a hell of a long time, and I feel like you deserve a title. And I think the name that was suggested that by far I liked the most was Captain's Crew. I'm the captain and you guys are my crew. It just seems to fit. But yeah. Let me know what you think. It's probably going to take a bit of getting used to. I'm only actually changing one word, but it's probably going to take a little bit of getting used to, because I've been saying "What's up, guys" since I started this channel, which was, by the way, 9 years ago. I started this channel 9 years ago. That's a long time. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'm probably going to keep it going forwards, because I mean, let's face it, guys, it's saying "What's up, guys" it's very generic, and I mean, in the day and age that we live in, it's very gender specific as well. So I think Captain's Crew is going to be the way we're going forwards. Number two, I only just got back home from England last night. I wasn't actually going to record a video today, but then I suddenly remembered that I need to get this thing done so I can get it out for you guys over the weekend. So I am a little bit tired, but I don't see why we can't sit here and answer some comments going forwards. It's not exactly a hard task. So to kick this thing off, as we've been doing over the last couple of videos, it feels like it's a bit of a trend. I feel like I'm going to keep doing it. I quite like this, promoting other channels, promoting other videos. This time I'm going to promote a channel called Mad Thing. They make like montages, mainly about film and TV, but recently more about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and very recently more just about Captain America. And the most recent one is a short 50 second, or I think it's roughly 50-second montage about Captain America. It is so good. It is really good. It did so well. It gained so much traction. I believe even Chris Evans retweeted it as well, which is why there's been an insane burst in popularity in it. I think it was originally made as a joke. I don't follow popular music. I don't really listen to the radio, so I don't know what the background around this song is. But I do believe the video was originally intended as a joke, but it is really good. And it's an incredible video, so definitely go check it out. And more importantly, definitely go check out the rest of the videos on that channel, because some of the other videos on Mad Thing's channel are just as good, if not better. So definitely go over there and check them out if you like Captain America, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or just cool montages in general. It's very good. So yeah, Mad Thing on YouTube, links in the description to that. And with that being said, let's get this thing underway with the first question. God, I need a haircut. Good lord. Will you do a walkthrough of X-Men Legends 1 and 2? Yes! That's next on the agenda, actually. I think I'm probably going to get that underway when Spider-Man's done. When Spider-Man's finished and all the DLC is done and you've seen all that, that's when I plan on getting X-Men Legends, both 1 and 2, underway. I just realised, actually, that Zachary Meyer, you didn't actually ask about X-Men Legends. You asked about X-Men Destiny. But you know what? I'm not going back and editing that, so your question's on the screen anyway. But, yeah. Unless anything happens to go wrong, unless for whatever reason I encounter more problems with recording equipment, because you got to remember, the original Xbox is a very old piece of machinery, so as far as I know, I should be able to record it with this recording software. I don't think there should be any problems. But yeah, X-Men Legends 1 and 2, that's the plan after Spider-Man. Haven't played them. Well, I played X-Men Legends 2, I think, when I was a kid, and I'm talking a young kid. But even then, it was when I used to have to rent the game, and because I didn't have enough space on my memory card, I had to just play the first mission over and over again. I don't remember any of it, so they're going to be blind walkthroughs. I'm just going to be playing it as I go. Yeah, that's the plan. As long as nothing goes wrong, X-Men Legends 1 and 2 should, in theory, be following Spider-Man. And it will work out quite well, actually, because by the time Spider-Man gets finished, we roughly when Ultimate Alliance 3 is coming out, so have X-Men Legends and Ultimate Alliance 3 simultaneously. They're both very similar types of games. That works out quite well, actually. And do you know what? Seeing this, how Zachary Meyer, you didn't actually ask about X-Men Legends, you asked about X-Men Destiny and Ultimate Alliance 1. I'm going to go ahead and answer the rest of your question as well. Will I be doing remastered walkthroughs of those games? X-Men Destiny, no. I already did 3 walkthroughs of that, with all 3 characters and all 3 different abilities. They're incredibly old walkthroughs. I don't recommend going back and watching them, just because I feel like I've evolved as a a gameplay person since then. I'm not a huge fan of my commentary. Unfortunately, X-Men Shadow, my Shadow Matter Part 1, which was Part 1 of a blind walkthrough, which I did on the hardest difficulty at a time when I was very new to YouTube, is still to this day one of my most popular videos and attracts so many people to my channel, and then they immediately leave again because it is in no way a good reflection of who I am as a person. It was when I was really new to YouTube, which is a shame because they see that video and they think that's who I am and they go. But hey, it is what it is. But X-Men Destiny, no. I won't be replaying them. I've done them to death. I've done enough of that. Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, as you know, I do want to replay them. If it ever gets re-released on Xbox One on PlayStation 4, because you can't actually get them from the store at the moment. But if they ever get re-released there, then hell yeah, definitely doing them. I really want to play those games again. But it all depends whether they get released on the on Xbox or PlayStation. But yeah, I think I answered it. I'm tired. I'm rambling. This is not a good start. Will you play any games with your partner? Probably not. In the last Captain's Quarters, when I said that she was playing The Last of Us, and I said I found it very entertaining to watch, that was the first and last time she played that game. She enjoyed it. It's just she's a busy person. She has a lot going on. I mean, she's a nurse, so when she isn't working, she's normally quite tired, and when she's not, she's got other stuff that she gets to do. She doesn't normally actually find that much time to be able to play games. She's more of a Sims person, to be honest. I think she has every single expansion pack under the sun for that game. Yeah, but I mean, other than that, she's a very private person. That's why I've never shown any pictures of her on this channel or anything like that. It might sound silly, but so am I. It's coming from someone right now recording a video and putting it out on the internet. I actually am. I mean, as I said earlier, I've been on YouTube since 2010, and it took me what 6 years, 6 years, 5-6 years to eventually actually show my face on camera. I'm a very private person as well. It's why, like, those of you who follow me on Facebook and Twitter, unless I've actually got something I need to tell you, that's why I never post anything. My personal Facebook of like who I am outside of Captain Dave, I don't think I've posted anything since August, and even that was just to say happy birthday, like thank you for happy birthday messages. I just don't. I don't know. It just doesn't occur to me to use social media, to be honest. Probably why I've been on YouTube since 2010 and I've only got as far as I've got is because of that reason. But I don't know, I'm just a private person, and Melissa more so, very much private person. That ever changes and she ever wants to make a video with me, yeah, I'll encourage it. She's more than welcome to, but I wouldn't be holding your breath. I wouldn't expect to see anything like that going forward. Have you seen Avengers Endgame? Yeah, loved it. Thought it was incredible. The third act in particular was just everything I've wanted in the Avengers movie. I loved Infinity War, but the one thing I really wanted to see in Infinity War and didn't exist was just that scene where everyone is together. And I get why that happened now. Like, the whole point of Infinity War was to show how everyone was disjointed and everyone was fractured, whether it be because of the Civil War or just because they're a galaxy away, who knows. But the whole point was to show that they're not together, they're not a cohesive unit, they're not a team. So in Endgame, you got that deliverance. You finally got that big scene where, and it's going to be spoilers, but I mean, the Russo brothers said we can spoil stuff now. So if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, I'll just skip ahead in the video. I'll put a timestamp down below. But I mean, at this point, if you're on this channel, I'm sure you've seen Endgame. But that big scene at the end where, like, there's Captain America holding Thor's hammer and he finally says Avengers Assemble and just everyone charges forwards. Oh my god, that scene. That is what I've been waiting for since, I don't know, like the first Avengers film, the first time other characters started getting introduced. That is just, it was like one from one of the splash pages from the comics where there is a big fight and you open it up and just there is everyone all on top of each other. And that was what it was like. The camera spinning around and you'd have like Iron Man and Pepper Potts as rescue back to back, and then you see Drax jump with his two knives and start stabbing, and then Spider-Man would go swinging from nothing, apparently. taking a cue from some of the older video games, it seems. But that scene where they all charge forwards and Ant-Man, or I'm going to call him Giant Man because that's who he was in that scene, taking a big leap forwards. Then you had all the Valkyrie and all the flyers and like Iron Man and Peter Quill and just everyone flying forwards. And then it was everything I wanted. That was everything I wanted to see. By far, the third act was just incredible. No doubt when that comes out on Blu-ray, I'm going to be sitting there going frame by frame through that fight scene just to see what everyone was doing and everything was going on. Something my brother said, and I laughed at first, and then I thought to myself, actually, no, it kind of makes sense, is he said he wished it was slower. He felt like that fight scene went so fast, not in the sense it was over too quickly, but the action was happening so quickly, he couldn't actually see what was going on. And I kind of agree. I know the point was to show, hey, look at this, everything's happening at once. They're working together as a cohesive unit. I get that was the point. But also, it happened so fast, I feel like I missed so much. But then, maybe that's what they wanted. Maybe they wanted you to go back and see it several times, so you could see everything that was going on. But no, that fight scene was just incredible. I also loved Act 2, the time travel stuff. Time travel, alternate universes, that's my bread and butter. I love that. I always love stuff like that. If a TV show or a film has the premises of time travel or alternate realities, I'm sold. Yeah, I mean, you don't really need to tell me much else unless you do it in a incredibly appalling way. I'm there. So I love that. I don't know. I think they delivered it in a different way to the way I was expecting it to be. But it was really good. There were so many awesome moments, so many callbacks. A lot of people said it was a bit too fan servicey. I don't care. It was great. Yeah, I just loved it. So excited for the future of Marvel at this point. So excited. It actually, in fact, if you want to hear more of me discussing Avengers Endgame, Tommy over on the Insider Network channel, Tommy, who I used to do the Segway City podcast with, they have their own podcasts over many platforms, and they also have a new YouTube channel called the Insider Network, in which we have a podcast where I was a guest, and we discuss stuff like that. And they also have an upcoming episode. I don't know when it's going to be released, but they do have a future episode coming up where I was once again a guest, and we discuss the entire future of the MCU, and we plot what we would do if we were Kevin Feige, or a Marvel executive, what we would plan for the Phase 4 or just the future going forward. Not sure when that's going to be released, but that is going to be coming out on their channel, and I'll be sure to let you guys know. But if you are not subscribed, go over there and do it. They do other stuff like that. They do reviews of films, top 10 lists. They recently did a deep dive into Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, go over there, check it out. If you missed Tommy and others, go over there and check it out. It's definitely worth it. But yeah, if you want to hear me talk more about MCU stuff, go over there. I've been a guest there twice now, and I'm sure I'll probably be a guest in the future. Right, Tommy? So, yeah, if you want to hear me talk more about MCU, go over and subscribe to them. Again, links in the description to all that as well. And I'm sure I've probably got a card coming up on the screen. I'm just all over this YouTube thing these days. I've got cards, I've got descriptions. I don't have annotations because they removed them for some reason. But, yeah, I mean, if my sub boxes aren't going to work, if I can be back for 3 months and you guys just don't get my video sent to you, then hell, I'll just go start working on other channels. I'll just get myself out there as much as I can. This went off the rails, this one. I'm so tired. Next question, let's move on. Do you think we'll see the symbiote in the Spider-Man PS4 sequel? Okay, so much like with Avengers Endgame just now, I'm going to put a timestamp somewhere on the screen down here. I'm going to try and avoid talking about spoilers as much as I can, but if by some chance there is anyone watching my Spider-Man walkthrough who has not actually played the game yet, I would suggest probably just skipping this question, just go to the timestamp on this video, just scroll it along and go to that point and just avoid the question outright. As I say, going to try and avoid spoilers, but if you don't want the story ruined for you, I'll just say skip this question. But with that being said, I think the symbiote is definitely going to make an appearance in the next game. If not in the next game, then in the hopeful third game. I mean, everything seems to come in threes these days, especially with movies. But I'm thinking Sony is trying to create or at least I hope they're trying to create a Spider-Man universe, but with video games. We know they tried to do it, and I think they still are trying to do it, to be honest. They tried to do it with the movies, with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man stuff, and I think they're trying to do it now with Venom. And there's like a Morbius film. Is it Morbius? Morpheus? Morbius. Morpheus is that Matrix guy, isn't he? Yeah, Morbius. They're creating other films like now. I feel like they're still trying to create a cinematic Spider-Man universe, even though he's in the MCU, but that's a different question for another day. I feel like they are going to try and make a big Spider-Man universe within the gaming realm. If not, then I still feel they're going to aim for 2 or 3 games, try and make it into a bit of a trilogy. With that being said, I could almost guarantee the Spider-Man symbiote would be in the next game. If not, it'll be in the third game. Even if it wasn't, I was going to say heavily suggested, but I mean, they outright showed you that the symbiote's going to be in future installments. Even if they didn't do that, I'd still say you've got a good bet that the symbiote would turn up. I mean, I personally don't care either way for the symbiotes, for Venom, for Carnage. I know they're a big sticking point. Everyone loves that within the Spider-Man universe. Never really hit home for me. It was never really been a character I can get on board with. It's cool. There's some cool stories, but I do feel it's a little overdone. But it is a big character that everyone loves, so it would be silly if they didn't introduce it into a future game. I kind of feel like anything to do with a symbiote might be an overarching plot. Like, for example, in this game, we've got Mr. Negative and other bad guys, trying to avoid spoilers, that crop up, and then at the end, we get teased about the symbiote. I think one or two things are either going to happen. Either in the next game, that payoff is going to come to light, and we're going to have lots of stuff dealing with the symbiote, or it's going to be an overarching theme, and we're going to have another big bad that pops up in the next game. I don't know, the Kingpin comes back, or who knows. Something else happens, another big bad comes along, and then there are just more seeds planted about the symbiote, and then in the third game, it all comes crashing down. I feel like they're going to do one of those two things, but yeah, there's no way the symbiote would not appear in future Spider-Man games. I feel, despite my opinions on it, I feel like it would be a major missed mark if they didn't do that. But who knows? Sony has ways of surprising us when it comes to what we expect them to do, so that wasn't a compliment. What are your thoughts on the Mass Effect 3 ending? I have mixed feelings on the Mass Effect 3 ending. I'll say right now, I don't think it was a bad ending. I think it's one of those things that gets a lot more flack than it deserves. It's one of those things that it gets hyped up to be worse than it is, and it's the cool thing to say you hate it. Kind of like with Nickelback. Everyone says they hate Nickelback because everyone else says they hate Nickelback. I love Nickelback. Good music. Solid music. I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. I've got 4 Nickelback albums. Easy listening. Easy listening. Good songs. Some of them a little bit repetitive, but I mean, they don't deserve the flack they get. Anyway, and that's how I feel the Mass Effect 3 ending gets. Now, with that being said, the original ending before the extended cut, yeah, lackluster. Complete slap in the face. That, I don't think, was the ending they wanted to create. I think, from someone who has no behind-the-scenes knowledge, and just from what I've seen and from what I've heard and just from the opinions I've formed, it seems heavily like it was rushed. That they had other plans for the ending. They had a much more in-depth plan for the ending, but they just didn't have time. That's my personal opinion, and I feel like that is kind of built upon when you look at the whole game, especially if you were to compare Mass Effect 3 to Mass Effect 2, because I feel like Mass Effect 1 in stance of gameplay is such a different game when you jump to Mass Effect 2, but if you just look at Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect 3 just lacked that polish, and it's the only word I can really find that properly describes the point I'm trying to make. It just didn't have that polish. Everything in Mass Effect 2 just felt finished. Like, that was what they were trying to deliver. Mass Effect 3, other than the bugs and the glitches, it just seemed rough around the edges, and not in the rough war aesthetic that they were trying to get across, but more in the, we didn't have, once we got it working, we didn't have time to go back and make it look any better. We just had to go, yep, that's done, on to the next bit. A good example, I think, would be when they first go to invade Earth. They've gathered all the forces of the galaxy, and right, now let's attack Earth and let's take it to the Reapers. Hackett comes on board and delivers this amazing speech. There is epic music in the background, and you are like, yes, that this is time. The Reapers are going to get it. They all come through the relay, and then pew, 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 pew. No music. It's just flat. All you hear is the sound of the spaceships going along and shooting, and then they're ducking and diving, and there's Earth, let's go. And that's that. No music in the background. Completely fell flat. You had all that build-up to just hit with all the impact of a wet fart. It just... And that's what I mean by lacking polish. The scene itself was really cool. The battle itself was cool. But it lacked the emotion and the depth because it didn't have... I can imagine they just didn't have the time to be able to get a scoring behind it. Or there was just a bug in the game and it never got introduced. I don't know. That's the best way I could describe it. Get back on track where you say like the original ending before the extended cut. It sort of... A lot of people, I think, put the focus on, you just pick a different colour. Putting that aside, the ending still fell flat. And again, I'm talking about the original ending, because you made a decision, you saw what happened, and then that was that. For a game that is so built on the rich history of the universe, and actions have consequences, you saw the action, but you didn't see the consequence. All these characters that we'd built up, what happened to them? What happened to the universe? And that's literally what it was. And I think to put it in a context everyone would understand, again, this is going to be more Avengers Endgame spoilers, but I think everyone's seen it by this point. At the very end, Thanos gets dusted. Imagine if the film ended then. You see him, he sits down, he floats away in dust, credits roll. Would you go, well done, great ending? No, you'd be like, well, what the hell? Was everyone okay? What happened to Iron Man? What happened to Cap? Did they get the stones back? Like, there's so much left unanswered, and that's how the original ending of Mass Effect was, in my opinion. Now, the extended cut did a lot to remedy that. You get, depending on what option you pick, either EDI or Robotic Shepherd, or was it Anderson or was it Hackett? I think it was Hackett. Oh yeah, it can't have been Anderson. Yeah, I think it was Hackett. They give you like an overview of how the universe healed and moved on, or didn't heal, more to the point, depending on what you picked, how the universe went on from that point. So you got at least a little bit of information, and you got some emotion when you see the crew hanging up Shepard's plate, name tag. Oh, my back aches, Jesus. You see... You see him hanging up the Shepard's nameplate, and you get a bit of emotion, and you're like, okay, they all go off together, they're staying as a team. Maybe they go their separate ways, but, you know, they've done their job and it's finished. I still personally would have loved more. I think everyone would have loved more, and to be honest, they could have given us an in-depth hour prologue. Is it prologue, or is prologue before? I can't remember. Prologue's before, isn't it? Epilogue, that's the one. They could have given us like an hour epilogue, and we still would have wanted more, because you get so invested in something, you just don't want it to end. So, like, in that sense, I don't feel like they ever could have lived up to the hype, but at the same time, they could have given more. This answer's going really in depth, but I love Mass Effect. So, the thing with the colours, I feel like people give that more crap than it deserves. You make a choice and you have a consequence. I think what people moan at when they say the colours is that they wanted each choice to have its own set of cinematic, I think. So you destroy and you visually see something else happen. Because, yeah, you see the Reapers get destroyed, but it's still from that big coloured beam. I get where they're coming from. I think what they wanted was just visually something else to happen. And this is where I'm a bit split on it, because I feel like this generation, and I'm not talking about a certain age, I'm just talking about culture in general these days. Everyone is so used to just being spoon-fed everything. We have the internet at our fingertips. We can contact anyone because of mobile phones at a moment's notice. Back in the day, and I'm not even talking that long ago, 10, 15 years ago, if you wanted, well, maybe a bit longer, 20 years ago maybe, if you wanted to get in contact with someone and they weren't at home, you had to wait. That was that. Like, if I wanted to hang out with my friends, I had to go around and knock on their front door. Like, there was no calling them or texting them to see if they wanted to hang out. And people have lost, I feel like, that sense of, I don't know, using their own imagination, filling in the gaps themselves. Like, you go see a play, and you'll have like 2 walls and an actor, and it's set in a dark alleyway. In your head, you're thinking, oh, it's dark time, there's mist, there's rain. You read a book, you do the same thing. You fill in the gaps yourself. You use your own imagination. I feel like people these days feel like if it's not spoon-fed and delivered to them, they're like, well, that was bad, that was silly. And people have lost that sense of their own imagination. Like, what happens to those characters? Interpret it yourself. You saw what happened. What do you think happened to those characters? So that's one thing. I feel like people just demand too much these days. They're not willing to do the legwork themselves. To play devil's advocate, to put it on the other side, they could have also delivered more. It backtracks what I just said, but I see both sides, and that's why I say I'm on the fence. But yeah, it wasn't a bad ending. It gets so much more flack than it deserves, but at the same time, I would have liked to have seen more. I would have liked to, I don't know, not had more options. I don't know, it just, they had to bring it all to a point, but that point did seem kind of wishy-washy, I guess. It kind of did just sort of say, here's all your choices, but and at the end of the day, they don't really matter. That's, I think, really what hit home with people, that all these choices they had made kind of meant nil at the end, because it just came down to these 3. Oh no, 4 choices actually, because you can just walk away and do nothing and let the cycle of destruction just continue. But in the end, all those decisions you made had no impact on the overall thing. But then again, they wouldn't. Like, oh, you let Nasana Dantius live. Well, that's not an option, but it's the only character's name that popped into my head. You let random Asari live. That wouldn't affect the outcome of the war. But I don't know. I'm going on for too long. This one's ramble. Don't get me talking about Mass Effect. You know what happens. I talk about Mass Effect though. Shut up. But yeah, I liked it. It just got more I've just rambled so long about this. Yeah, it was okay. People give it more stick than it deserves, but, you know, they could have given us more too. Unfortunately, that's a trend we're seeing across BioWare now with Andromeda and Anthem. I don't know. It just... That's how I'm going to end it. It was okay. Yeah, I don't hate it as much as everyone else. End the question, Dave! Stop talking! Right, I'm moving on. Next question. What character do you think you can play in a Marvel or DC movie? Ooh, good question. Do you mean like if I was to be a character as in like acting, like as an actor, what character would I like to act? Or like what character would I be based on like what I'm like in real life? I feel like if it was in terms of being an actor, I'd have to be a bad guy. Like, I don't obviously want to be a bad guy in real life, but, like, I'd have to be a bad guy. They're just so much more fun. They're more fun to watch. I can imagine they're so much more fun to act out. You get to say and do things that you wouldn't normally be able to do or say in real life. I mean, good guys are cool, and, you know, they get to carry a franchise, so they get to be in more movies. But, like, bad guys, they just seem like they're so much more fun as characters to play. I don't know, like, in terms of who I would be like based on like my personality, I can't think of any hero or villain that's really like me. Like, my gut always says Peter Parker, like Spider-Man, because it's my favourite, but like, have you ever seen me in a onesie? You don't want to, especially something skin tight. I'll tell you what, I'd be like Spider-Verse Peter Parker, like the dishevelled, run-down Peter Parker. I'd be Spider-Man with a gut, like that would be me. Yeah, I don't. No, do you know what? No, I'll tell you what I'd like to be. I'd like to be like one of the bad guys that isn't the main bad guy, but like they're a side character, or they're like maybe like a minion or something like that, or the one that always tries to be bad and just has their ass handed to them. I would be Herman Schultz. I'd be Shocker. I'd be Ultimate Universe version of Shocker, Herman Schultz, who, like, maybe at the start and at the end of the movie, or maybe even, even during the movie as well, constantly just tries to commit crimes and instantly, without a second thought, just gets smacked down by Spider-Man, and he keeps going. And like, I'd be coming like that scene out of the PS4 Spider-Man, and out of Ultimate Spider-Man the game, and out of Ultimate Spider-Man the comics, where he comes like leaping out of a bank, or he's robbing, and he sees Spider-Man, and he's like, oh, come on. Like, again, like, he gets no respect from the cops. He gets no respect from the criminals. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Try your hardest, damn it. Have all the best or worst intentions, and nobody takes you seriously. That's me. That's definitely my character. Like, at the start, he could get taken down by Spider-Man. At the end, when all the badness has been resolved, it'll be like, hey, Herman, back to the old thing. And Herman will be like, oh, god damn it, like, nothing ever changes. And even during the film, it could be a really dramatic moment, and Herman tries to take advantage of the situation by robbing a bank or stealing something. And why Spider-Man so focused to take down this big bad, he just takes down Shocker at the side. Like, not even paying him any attention, not even giving him any jokes, just literally smacks him down, webs him up, and goes on his way. That's the character. That's my guy. That's me. Sign me in that movie. What character from the MCU do you like more than in the comics? To be honest, I'm just going to repeat your answer. Captain America and Thor. I've always wanted to read Captain America comics. I've just never really got around to it. I don't know, I just haven't got around to it. They seem like they're always going to be quite political based. Not talking about the current political climate, but it's more like I don't know, espionage and overthrowing governments, and like more military-esque kind of stories. That's just been my opinion. I'm probably completely wrong about that. I tried once reading a Thor story before, just was not interested in it at all. Like, gods and realms and mystical artifacts, that's just not my jam. I can't get on board with that sort of stuff. MCU, Thor and Captain America, love them. I like how they've gone down a comical route with Thor. I feel like they're taking it a little bit too far in more recent years. They really need to nail down his character a little bit. But MCU Captain America, love him. He's probably my favourite character in the MCU. I love Chris Evans Captain America and just what they've done with him in general. Bear in mind, when I saw the first Avenger and I saw the first Avengers film, wasn't a huge fan of what they were doing with Captain America, but Winter Soldier, Civil War, and the subsequent Avengers films, man, I love him. He's my favourite character in the MCU. He's so cool. I mean, Loki is the same case. Like, he's the god of mischief. He's a lot more serious in the comics. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's a completely different character, but he's so much fun. I think that, to be honest, that's the case with a lot of characters. Iron Man is so much better in the MCU. They've now changed the comic version of Iron Man to make him a very jokey, very light-hearted character. He never used to be. He used to be quite stern, quite, rigid. And serious. He was always like one of the more voices of reason, other than when he was an alcoholic. But like in the comics, he was always the more serious one. Now he's a bit of a jokey character. Like the comics are now mimicking the MCU, which is happening a lot, and I don't like it. But I get why from a business standpoint. But they said many years ago they wouldn't change the comics to match the MCU, and funnily enough, the Avengers lineup tends to change quite a lot, and it tends to match the MCU quite a lot. But, yeah, that aside, I think a lot of characters are better in the MCU than they are in the comics just because it just fits their cinematic universe. Vision, so much better in the MCU. I prefer him so much more. I hate Vision in the comics. I don't know. I'm assuming that's not a popular decision because every time I see a Avengers run getting started from scratch again with a new writer, boom, there he is, the Vision. Every time. I hate that guy. He's an asshole. I'm sorry, but Vision is an asshole. MCU Vision, Paul Bettany Vision, love that guy. Did a great job. I'm really on board with that character. In the comics, he's just not a good guy. I'm sorry, but he's just not. Like, there's a story, I forget what it's called. I think it's called like House of Vision, or it's basically where Vision creates himself a family, which is already a sketchy premise just on the face of it. But apparently that's supposed to be a really good story, so I should probably read that before commenting further. But every story I read that has Vision in, I'm always just disagreeing with what he's doing. He's always acts like so high and mighty and like he's smarter than everyone else. Yet he is the one who is constantly doing stuff wrong. He's constantly messing with the time stream, and I don't know. Vision just gets my go. Every time I see an Avengers lineup with Vision on, it immediately puts me off. Same with Rogue, by the way. What is everyone's obsession with Rogue? Why is she constantly in the Avengers? I know there was the Unity Squad, and I'm going off on a ramble, but, tough. It's my channel. I know there was the Unity Squad, and she was there to try and post Avengers vs. X-Men, try to join humans and X-Men on a team together, the Avengers Unity Squad. That was the point. I get that. But what is this obsession with Rogue? And by part Gambit as well. Is she loved? Does everyone like her? Am I the exception to this? Because every time, again, kind of like with Vision, there'll be a new X-Men lineup, a new run, boom, there's Rogue. And in the recent years, a new Avengers run, boom, there's Rogue. I hate her. She's so boring. There is nothing interesting. And then she comes along, and you can guarantee, 5, 6, 7 issue later, Gambit's going to appear, and their story's just bore the hell out of me. They're the only X-Men comics I've really not enjoyed are the ones with Rogue at the forefront even. I just don't enjoy it. I don't see what the appeal is about. There's so many other great X-Men they could use. Like, if you're going to have a representative of the X-Men on the front cover, why Rogue? I know she used to be a villain, and now she's changed her ways around, and it's a good representation of, oh look, this is how people can start down one path and change and become a better person. And now she's a member of the Avengers, the team she originally fought when she came into the comic scene. Like, she was working with Magneto, or the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and she attacked the Avengers, and now she's on the Avengers. Isn't it great? I just don't get what the appeal with Rogue is. I think she is just a boring character. She brings, as far as I'm concerned, nothing to the table other than the fact she can't touch people. Take that away, what is she? And I know you could say that about a lot of characters, but Cyclops, take away his vision, he is a brilliant tactician. He believes in mutant rights to the point now of like anarchy, to the point where he's gone more the extremist Magneto route. Bobby Drake, yeah, he's all about his ice powers. You take that away, he actually has a big heart. He cares a lot about mutants. He cares a lot about the people. That's why he's always been at the school, no matter what other people have been doing. He's always at either the heart of the mutant resistance when they're on like Utopia, or he's at the school. He cares about the kids, and he's like the comedic character. Like, I just don't know what Rogue brings. I just don't get it. It instantly bores me. I mean, if there's ever an Avengers lineup with Rogue and Vision on it, I can guarantee I have not read it. But yeah, to go back to your question, there's a lot of MCU characters I like more than their comic counterparts. Flip that. There are no X-Men I prefer in the movies. I prefer the comic versions of all of them. Same with the Fantastic Four. But you know, that just is what it is. But yeah, Captain America is hands down my favourite in the MCU. He's cool. I love him. Chris Evans did such a good job. Do you upload all of your Spider-Man videos on the day, or do you have them uploaded beforehand and set to private? Yeah, I just have them uploaded beforehand. I try and get as many uploaded as I can, and then there's this thing you can do on YouTube where you set it to schedule. So you select the day and you select the time that you want it to be released, and it sits there private. And as soon as, say, like for me, it's 6 PM here in England, then boom, it just switches to public. And then normally what I do is I get out my phone and I'll just add it to the Spider-Man playlist, and that's pretty much all I have to do, really. You could try to upload it and then just time it just right, but I don't have the time to sit there every day and get in front of my computer and go, right, what video am I uploading today? I don't have that time. Normally I'll upload 4 or 5 videos in the space of a day because my internet is better, so I can do that. It used to take me 12 to 24 hours to upload one video. I can now do it a bit more ahead in advance, so I'll upload, say, 4 or 5 a day, and then that's me sorted for the next 5 days. And then normally in between that, I'm off doing other stuff. I'm not sitting here in front of the computer. I'm not editing. I would love to. God, I would love to be doing this every day, but I can't. You know, I'm an adult. I've got other stuff I need to do with my day. That's why quite often there'll be long stretches where you guys will be leaving comments, and then you might find there'll be one day where suddenly I respond to like 3 of your comments over the past week. It's because sometimes I sit down and I just go through a massive tear of answering comments. It's because I don't get to sit and do this every day. And if there wasn't that scheduling feature on YouTube, you wouldn't get videos every day. I don't have the time to do that. I just don't. So yeah. Massively handy. Like, just recently I went down to England. I uploaded 8 or 9 videos, had all the descriptions, the tags, the cards, the end screens, all of that done, and just had them as a schedule. And because I knew I wasn't going to be able to go on YouTube for like 5 or 6 days. So I just had them as a schedule. They've all been uploaded, and as of finishing recording this, I'm going to go through and answer a bunch of your comments. So, yeah, that's how I do it. And if anyone's doing gameplay stuff like that in the future, heavily suggest doing that. It's a great way. It's a time saver as well. Even if you're doing like vlogs, but you want the video to go live on Saturday, instead of waiting until Saturday comes around and going, oh, let's make that public, just set it on a schedule. It just frees up more time on your hands, and especially me, who is incredibly forgetful, struggle a lot with my memory. It stops me from forgetting to upload stuff. What is the worst thing you have to complete in any video game? I can't really think of anything specific. For me, it's just anything that breaks the story. When they put something in the game which is obviously just put in the game because they want to pad out the length of the game. They know the story itself is only 6 or 12 hours long, so they just add in all these monotonous tasks that serve no purpose other than just to making you play the game for longer, to make it seem like it's a longer game. Or stuff that's so incredibly difficult or incredibly hard to find that it makes the game go longer. That stuff I hate. It breaks the story and it doesn't add anything to the game itself. Like Spider-Man, you've got the bases, you've got the collectibles. They're not essential stuff you have to do. If you leave them, it doesn't matter. It's fine. If you want to do them, you can. They tread a fine line. They're clearly stuff that's been put in the game to make the game longer, but they add something to the game. There are other parts, I can't think of any examples right now, where sometimes a mission's just been laid out in an awkward fashion, and you spend 30 minutes just looking for an item that you need to get through a door or to get past a thing. And it's just made so incredibly complicated and so incredibly long-winded that by the time you get that item and get through, you've lost the reason to care as to why you're doing it in the first place. And then you just want to stop playing the game. That's the stuff that I hate. Like Riddler trophies in Batman. Frustrating, but you don't have to do it. Yes, you kind of do if you want to 100% it, and if you want to actually catch the Riddler, you have to do it. But again, it's a choice. And when you do it, it adds something to the game. You catch the Riddler. But I can see where you're coming from, because also at the same time, you want to catch the Riddler, and then it feels like you've spent days and days and days just collecting Riddler trophies. Like, like the Riddler trophies got pushed to they expanded upon it and they exaggerated too far, especially in Arkham Knight, where you've got like the races you have to do. How is that a riddle? But yeah, it just points where they just bloat the game for no reason. Especially fetch quests. Like, I think probably the best example being, say, like Andromeda. Go get this, go get 7 of these, go pick up 10 of these. No cutscenes, barely any dialogue, and it's just crap that they put in the game just to make you play it longer. You boil down anything that actually happened, any missions in those games which actually led to a story, actually had a consequence, you could trim so much fat from that game, and it'd become a much shorter game. Stuff like that. Just stuff that just ruins the story, pretty much. Ruins the flow of the game. But with that being said, let's jump into this with a quick fire round, answering the questions that don't need long, in-depth answers and just getting the answers that you want to hear. Let's do this. How's life? Life is good. How's life for you? Will you be doing a walkthrough of LEGO DC supervillains? Probably will in the future, but I don't have any plans at this exact moment in time. Will you play Telltale Batman Season 2? Again, probably in the future, but I don't have any plans to play it at this exact moment. Cake or pie? Ooh, pie. Definitely pie. Oh, I want a pie now. Are you going to play Injustice 1 and 2? Originally I said no to Injustice, but my opinion's kind of changed on that, so maybe in the future, possibly. Could you do a setup tour? There's no real need to be honest. Everything you're seeing here is the entirety of this room. There's nothing behind the camera, so probably not. Do you plan on playing any of the Life is Strange games? Nope. Have you ever thought about playing any of the Assassin's Creed games? Nope. Do you plan on playing any mobile games? Nope. Have you ever watched Death Battle? Nope. Would you ever play Iron Man 2? And say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, nope. But with that very noperific segment, I think that's the perfect way to round up this video. I think it's the perfect way to end this video. If you've got any questions you want to ask me, leave them in the comments section down below, and I might get around to answering them in next time's Captain's Quarters. If you like this video, please do think about giving this video a like. It really helps the channel to grow. If you're new here, definitely subscribe and always push that notification bell to be notified of all future videos going forwards. My sub boxes never seem to work. I don't know what YouTube are doing. Apparently, if you don't watch every video of a channel, they just don't give you the video. I don't quite see how that makes sense. If you subscribe to someone, you want to get all their videos. But regardless, it doesn't always happen. So if you want to see all my videos, I would suggest hitting that notification button. But failing that, I hope you all have a lovely day. Be nice to people, and I'll catch you guys later.